Wow, what a week. There was already a lot to cover Monday, and I was going to do a special feature on the Japan Alignment Conference 2023 and watch all 6 hours of their recordings. However, then GPT-4 came out yesterday and all of my group chats began buzzing. So in this week's ML and AI safety update, we are covering the latest technological safety developments with GPT-4, looking at Anthropic's safety strategy and covering the fascinating Japanese Alignment Conference. So, GPT-4 was just released yesterday, and it's just as mind-blowing as GPT-3 was when it was released. To get a few technical details from the report off the ground, GPT-4 is multimodal, which means it can interact both with images and with text. Bing has been using GPT-4 for its functionality, and it can now take in about 50 pages of text compared to about 7 before. Some inverse scaling tasks don't actually scale inversely on GPT-4 either. And it scores an IQ of 96 compared to 83 for GPT-3, which is very close to the human median. They also write in the report that the model shows more and more independent behavior, seemingly mimicking some of the risks we associate with uncontrollable AI, such as power seeking and agenticness. This ability to have an identity, possibly leading to goal-directed behavior independent of us users' preferences. The Alignment Research Center also describes an experiment in the OpenAI report where they upload GPT-4 to its own computer and give it some money and abilities such as delegating tasks to versions of itself and running code. This is done to test for the ability to self-replicate, a big fear for many machine learning practitioners. They also collaborated with many other safety researchers to red team the model, which basically just means find safety faults with GPT-4. In the report, it is explicitly stated that participation in this does not mean endorsement of OpenAI's strategy, but the gesture towards safety is very positive from OpenAI's side. Additionally, they do not share their training methods due to safety concerns, though it seems just as likely, and they also mentioned it, that this is because of the competitive pressure of other AI development companies. And you can check out a previous video on AI race dynamics. On the same day, Anthropic released a post on their updated availability for Claude through an API, their ChatGPT-like competitor. It uses the constitutional AI approach, which essentially means that the AI evaluates its own outputs using a rule set called a constitution on top of learning from human preferences like GPT-4. They also published their approach to AI safety last week, where Anthropic writes that AI will probably transform society, and we don't know how to consistently make them behave well. They take a multifaceted and empirical approach to the problem, and this is based on their goal of developing 1. Better safety techniques for AI systems, and 2. Better ways of identifying how safe or unsafe systems are. They classify 3 possible AI safety scenarios. 1. That it is easy to solve or that it is not a problem at all. And 2. That it might lead to catastrophic risks and it is very hard to solve, but we can indeed solve it, the intermediate scenario. And 3. That it is near impossible to solve. They hope and work mostly for scenarios 1 and 2. Additionally, at the same time, Google joins the chatbot API competition by releasing their PaLM language model as an API. Generally, Google seems to be lagging behind, despite their research team sort of kickstarting the large language models research revolution, which seems like a large business failure but might be good for AI safety. However, the AGI company Adept.ai also recently raised $350 million to build AI that can interact with anything on your computer. Now, jumping into Japanese alignment research. So I watched all the 6 hours of talks and discussions, so you don't have to. And the Japan Alignment Conference 2023 was a 2-day conference in Tokyo that Conjecture held in collaboration with RAIA, inviting researchers to think about alignment. It started with a chat with Jan Tallinn, who wants the Japanese researchers to join in the online discussions of alignment, along with an introduction to the alignment problem. Connor Lee and Ilya Yudkovsky also had a Q&A discussion. Simeon Campos presented a great introduction to how AGI governance might go about slowing down AGI development. And Jan Kulveit also gave a great presentation on active inference and AI alignment, along with his expectation of cyborg periods between now and superintelligence. But focusing on the talks from the Japanese side, we see some quite interesting perspectives on alignment. Researchers from the Whole Brain Architecture Initiative presented their path from neuroscience research in 2007 to 2011 into artificial general intelligence development until now, where they are reframing their approach to fit with the radical intelligence increase, or the singularity. Their tentative next steps is to provide technology to make AI more human, hopefully increasing understanding and safety. And a reinforcement learning team from Area wants to replicate biological systems interacting in real life to create aligned AI. And Tadahiro Taniguchi from Ritsumeikan University presented on symbol emergence in robotics, how we can train AI to understand segmentations of the world, for example, a table versus a piece of wood in the table, and assign categories or symbols to them. Shiro Takagi is an independent researcher, and he focuses on process supervision on large language models, which is sort of similar to Ort's factored cognition. Ryoto Kanai from Area spoke about the global workspace theory as a good representation of brain and AI functions. They have experimented with literally connecting two monkeys' brains to coordinate their neural latent spaces, which basically just means to synchronize the type of understanding the two different monkeys' brains do. He also spoke briefly about consciousness and didn't expand on the alignment implications of such work. Hiroshi Yamakawa and Yuta Kamatsuo of the Whole Brain Architecture Initiative have worked on what the future we want looks like. They define our ultimate goal as having surviving information and indicate that we need life to be reproducible, autonomous, decentralized systems to be robust against extinction. They create a timeline of the digital life revolution with the 5 steps of takeoff, genesis, coexistence, transformation, and stability, whatever that will look like. They expect that human patterns of life will disappear at the last step, and our relationship to superintelligence to develop from an enslaved god to a protector god, if all goes well. Despite the terminology, it is quite a sober and interesting talk, and they expect we will have to integrate very deeply with technology. Tadahiro Tamaguchi speaks of the importance of combining multiple ways of interacting with the world to have safer cognitive development of robots. And lastly, Manuel Balteri from Area tried to engage alignment from first principles as a category theorist and dynamical systems theorist. He described how he finds surprisingly little material in alignment literature of the basic assumptions. How is an agent, agency, and alignment actually defined? In the talk, he looks at how to define these and does quite a good job of it. But you can check that out as well. And hopefully, the Japan Alignment Conference will represent some first steps towards collaborating with the great robotics and neuroscience talent in Japan as well. Now for the opportunities. There are many job opportunities available right now, with some great ones at top university AI alignment labs. At, for example, University of Chicago as an alignment postdoctoral researcher, as an NYU alignment postdoc, as a University of Cambridge policy research assistant, and a collaborator with Chai at UC Berkeley. And come join our online writing hackathon on AI governance, happening virtually and in person across the world next weekend from March 24th to 26th. Emma Blumke and Michael Eric will be keynote speakers, and we have judges and cases from OpenAI, the Existential Risk Observatory, and other great names. You can participate for the whole weekend or just a few hours and get the chance to engage with exciting AI governance thinking, both technical and political, get reviews from top researchers and active organizations on your work, and win large prizes. So you can join our Discord server in the description to receive updates, and click Join Jam on the hackathon page to register your participation. And before then, we'll see you next week for the ML and AI safety update. Bye.